Welcome to Kanuka Home Practice, everybody. Join me for the slow flow. We're going to be working through a variety of different poses and then working through our inversions, which will include down dog, some wide-legged forward folds, and our bridge pose towards the end. So I've got a blanket and a bolster. I didn't actually use the bolster too much in the practice, but feel free to bring the blanket in. I always like to have some padding for the knees and for the back. And yeah, make yourself comfortable and we can make a start. We're going to make a start just lying on your back. So make your way down onto your back in your own time. And start by giving yourself a full body stretch when you get there, extending the legs, extending the arms, and hug the knees in towards the belly. You can sway side to side, massaging your lower back. And just to begin, we'll wake up the core a little bit. So it's such a vital part of our yoga practice, our day-to-day lives. So we can extend the legs up above the hips. You can have a bend in the knees, and the hands can be down by your sides. Maybe one hand on the heart, one on the belly, or above the shoulders, just in this cactus shape, just wherever it suits you. And we're going to keep your left leg raised as we lower the right leg down. Inhale, breath, raises it back up. Keep the right leg high, and the left leg slowly lowers down. And we switch change. Left leg stays up, right leg starts to lower. Inhale up, switch change, right leg stays up, left leg lowers down, using your breath. And once more to each side, right leg lowers, and the left leg, keeping that belly button drawing down towards the mat. And let's hug the knees in towards your belly, connecting to your breath. And we'll do another round, just warming up the core a little bit here. So again, we can raise the legs up towards the ceiling. A bend is totally okay. Find your preferred position for the arms. And we're going to lower both legs slowly down. You're in control of how far you go. Just making sure the belly button is drawing down towards the mat. So keeping the abdomen nice and controlled. And then we inhale back up. So we'll do 3 more of these. So exhale breath, flowing with your breath. Inhaling up. If you feel like you have space and you want to lower the legs further down with your exhale, feel free to do so. Inhale brings them up. So once more, staying with it. Exhale breath, nice and slow. Inhale breath, raises them up. And bend the knees in towards the belly. Give yourself a squeeze, sway side to side. And let's place the soles of the feet down. The knees are pointing up and the arms just down by your waist. We're going to find a few pelvic tilts here. So imagining that you have headlights pointing out from your hips. And we're going to shine the headlights down or towards the feet, which is going to bring a little bit of an arch to your lower back. It's a very subtle movement, so you probably won't see any change in my body here, but I've created a little bit of an arch. I've tilted my pelvis forward, and I'm going to tilt the headlights up towards my head now. So that's going to lower my lower back in towards the mat, and it's going to lift my tailbone just a little bit off the mat here as I round up, and then tilting down towards the feet, creating that little arch in the lower back. And the breath moves in the other direction, so finding that tuck of the tailbone, lower belly, draws down and towards the mat. So just finding a few of these pelvic tilts in your own time. bringing some awareness to your hips, flowing with your breath. And we can proceed to our undulating bridges. So the soles of the feet planted down, and you can almost swipe the backs of your heels with your hands. It's a good indication of where the feet are going to be. Keep the knees hip distance apart, and we're going to use the inhaling breath to raise the hips just a little bit off the mat. Exhale breath is going to lower them down. So really being aware of your feet here. So pressing down through your feet to lift the hips gently off the mat. Exhale breath slowly lowers them down to land. Inhale breath, pressing down through the feet, keeping the knees hip distance. We lift the hips on the inhale. Exhale, lowers them down. Inhale breath, press down through the feet, knees hip distance. And just being aware while you're up and lifting the hips, whether you've created any tension in the neck or the head, the shoulders, parts of the face. Seeing if we can raise the hips up, keeping the upper body, neck, and parts of the face relaxed. So just a couple more of these in your own time. Inhaling, we'll raise the hips up. Exhale, breath slowly lowers them down. And once more, inhale, breath up. And exhale down. And let's bring the knees in towards the belly, just a very gentle squeeze and rolling side to side. And we can make your way onto our hands and knees. So tabletop position. I always like to have the blanket for padding under the knees. So having the hands and the knees beneath the shoulders and the hips. Begin to sway side to side, just noticing your tabletop here. So noticing your hasta bandha, your hand lock down on the mat, a nice grip with the fingers down on your mat. Fingers are splayed nice and wide, arms are extended, perhaps a little micro bend in the elbows to stop your elbows from hyper rotating if you have that. And let's begin with a few cat-cows. So inhaling is going to lower the belly, the tailbone lifts, and the gaze is going to lift forwards. Exhale breath, the belly button lifts towards the ceiling, tailbone tucks in, chin will tuck. And inhale breath, belly button lowers for our cow pose. And exhale into cat, rounding the back, broadening the upper back body. And just a few more of these in your own time, flowing with your breath. Warming up your thoracic spine. Always using the breath as a centering device, something we can come back to throughout the practice. And let's tuck the toes behind you, sink the hips back towards the heels, and we can find a few gentle bounces here, so giving your feet a lovely little stretch out. And let's come down onto the forearms. We'll send the legs back behind you. And we're going to lower the knees, lower the hips gently down towards the mat. Again, you can still be on your blanket here if that feels good. And then making sure the elbows are beneath the shoulders. Palms are still down, fingers facing forwards. And we're going to find Sphinx Pose here. So we'll be here for a good 6 or 7 breaths. So it's a great pose really for finding a little bit of an extension in your back, lifting the spine up and out of the pelvis. And you can do that by either widening your feet a little bit or kind of wriggling yourself forwards a bit, which will create length with your legs out of their hip sockets. They're not actually going to come out of the hip sockets, but just that feeling of creating length around the hips, for the spine, and then sending the awareness and attention to parts of your face once again. So your out breath, softening down the cheeks, your jaw, your neck and shoulders. And perhaps a little smile comes onto the face as you find 2 or 3 more breaths in your Sphinx. And let's come down from your Sphinx pose. Take the left cheek onto the hands for a little rest. You can shake the hips side to side. And let's come into our low Cobra. So we can have the hands or arms in a cactus shape. The gaze down towards the top of your mat. And lifting the torso, lifting the upper body off the ground. The tops of the feet can be lightly down on the mat or hovering as well. More of a locust shape. And just finding 2 or 3 breaths, gently bringing the belly button in towards the spine, building some strength in your lower back. And let's place the palms down. The right cheek comes down for a little rest. And sway the hips side to side. And let's find that pose once again. So you're welcome to have the hands in this cactus shape or down by your waist. This time raising the legs, raising the torso, keeping the gaze down so the neck is long. Belly button slightly draws in. And then finding 2 or 3 breaths. Pointing the toes. Lifting once more on the inhale. Exhale, lower down. Take your time as we come back into tabletop. Knees beneath the hips. Neutral tabletop position. And let's extend the right leg back behind you. And we're going to take that right leg all the way out towards the right hand side. So sweep it along. You can drag the toes along the floor. And then let's sweep it all the way back behind you and over to the left side. So gazing beyond the left shoulder. Having a little look at your right foot. And bring the right leg all the way back around. Big half semicircle. And sweep the right leg all the way back around to the left side. And let's stack the knees here. So the right knee is going to come behind the left knee. And we send the hips a little bit back and then reach the arms forwards. I'm going in a diagonal direction up towards the right side. And we're in our cross-legged child's pose. Finding your breath where you are, perhaps coming onto the tips of your fingers, making this a little bit more active. And slowly coming out, release the stacked knees, coming back into tabletop. And we'll take that to the other side. So the left leg goes back behind you. And to begin with, you take the left foot all the way over to the left-hand side, as far as it feels right for you. And then sweep it all the way behind you out towards the right side, gazing beyond the right shoulder, and sweep it all the way back to the left. And the next breath sweeps it to the right. This time we stack the knees, the left knee behind the right knee, and sending the hips back just slightly, and then the arms forwards in that diagonal direction up towards the left side. Cross-legged child's pose on the other side. So if it feels good to come onto the tips of the fingers, that provides a bit more space, by all means. Take that option. Make it yours. Noticing what there is to notice in your body. And we'll slowly come out, coming into your tabletop. And let's bring the right leg or right foot forwards, finding our supported lunge here. So we can send the hips forwards a little bit, creating some space from the left hip down to the left knee. So opening up that left hip flexor. And the gaze can be forwards, maybe on the tips of your fingers or palms down. And let's bring the right arm or right hand to the inside of the right foot. We'll heel toe your right foot up to the right edge of your mat. And then just gently pressing the right hand in towards the knee. Gently opening up the hip a little bit. Open the torso towards the right side and the gaze to wherever your neck feels good. Finding one more breath here. And let's slowly unravel. We'll send that right knee back into tabletop. And just take a little movement in your tabletop to neutralize that pose. Anything that feels good. Just doing some circles and rotations at the hip. And when you're ready, bring the left foot to the front of the mat. Finding your supported low lunge to begin. Creating some length, this time from your right hip down to the right knee. And we bring the left arm or left hand to the inside of the left foot. Heel toe your left foot out to the edge of the mat. And then gently pressing the left hand into the knee this time. Opening the torso. You're welcome to roll onto the outer edge of your left foot. Bring the focus back to your breath. Seeing if we can soften down parts of the face, the neck and the shoulders. Perhaps even sending that softening breath to your hips. Seeing if there's anything we can let go of while we are here. And we'll slowly come back, hand comes down, and we'll come back into tabletop. Again, just taking any movements just to neutralize that little sequence. And just giving yourself a little rest on the wrists. You can come in down into the forearms here like a variation of child's pose, just to give the wrists a little break. And we're going to come into downward facing dog. So I'm going to remove the mat here. Sorry, the blanket. I'll keep the mat. And we'll find your way into downward dog when you're ready. So bring a big bend into the knees if that feels good. Arms are extended, still with the Hasta Bandha, the hand locked down on your mat. And if it feels good to start to lower a heel down one at a time, creating some length in the hamstrings. And then just noticing the upper arms, if we can externally rotate your upper arms, and that's going to create a bit more space around the neck and the shoulders. So finding our inversion here, our downward facing dog. The heart is above the hips. And let's walk to the front of the mat. Inhale breath for halfway lift. Flat back, crown of the head reaches forward. And exhale breath, forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you like. Another inversion. Increasing the circulation of blood flow to all parts of the body with these inversions. And let's slowly, very slowly, start to unravel the spine, finding your way into a standing position. So just very slowly, the neck and the head comes last. Reaching the arms up overhead. Palms can touch. And exhale, palms come down through your center line. Taking a moment in your Tadasana. Feeling the effects of those couple of inversions, of that warm-up, and cultivating a sense of gratitude for your practice, being grateful for your breath, grateful for your physical body, grateful for your amazing mind, perhaps grateful for your favorite coffee shop down the road. Maybe a smile comes onto the face. Breathing that gratitude in and sigh out the mouth. Let the breath flow. We can inhale, raising the arms up. And exhale, soften the knees, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, hands come down, meeting in downward facing dog. Take 2 or 3 breaths to find your dog. And let's inhale, the right leg will rise, 3-legged dog. Keep lifting that right leg a bit higher, and then we step that right foot to the front of the mat, and you can help it to the front if you need to. With your hands, spiral the back heel down and cartwheel the arms up. Warrior 2. So face this direction. Front knee is just above the front ankle. Arms are peeled long, gazing beyond the front middle finger and the outer edge of your back foot, pressing down and towards the mat. Finding 2 or 3 breaths. Your Virabhadrasana 2. Sending the focus to your breath. And let's bring the hands to the waist. We'll pivot on the feet to face the long edge of the mat. And we're going to find a side lunge here. So we're going to bend into the right knee, keeping the left leg straight, keeping the torso upright, and that gentle tuck of the belly button. So we're just nice and stable through the core. And then we inhale up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, breath up. Exhale, find that side lunge. Inhaling up, exhale. And inhale, let's inhale the arms all the way up. Soften the knees once again, hinging at the hips for your wide-legged forward fold. The hands might come down onto the ground or to opposite ankles. And not opposite ankles, the right hand to the right ankle, left hand to the left. And just seeing if we can release the head and the neck. Let gravity do the work here. A little sway, yes and no with your head, inviting that bend in the knees if it feels good. You can always start to straighten it as well, exploring the pose. Another inversion here. Finding another 2 rounds of your breath, softening parts of your physical body where you can. And let's slowly walk the hands to the front of the mat to frame the right foot. Pivoting on the toes, and we'll send the right foot back into high plank. Pausing in high plank for just a moment, and we lower the knees, lower down to the belly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, breath, your back extension of your choice for your vinyasa. And rolling back, downward facing dog, in your own time. So we'll meet in our downward dog, and we can flow that little sequence to the other side. Pedaling the dog out, finding your breath. And inhale, left leg is going to rise, 3-legged dog. So the next inhale, raise it a bit higher, pointing the toes, and then bring the left foot to the front of the mat, helping it through if you need to. And we're going to spiral the back heel down, cartwheel the arms up, warrior 2 on the other side. So keeping in mind those alignment cues of the knee, the outer edge of the back foot, and the arms, extending these long, having your focus, your drishti point beyond the front middle finger. And finding another 3 rounds of your slow breath, slowing it down if you can. Extending the arms. And bring the hands to the waist. We'll pivot on the toes to face the long edge of the mat. And we'll find these side lunges here. So bending into the left knee. Keep the right leg straight this time. Inhale, breath up. Hands come to prayer. Exhale, bending into the left knee. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhale. Inhale up. And this time we inhale the arms up overhead and soften the knees, hinging at the hips. Wide-legged forward fold. And it might feel good to do a few little bounces here. So only if it feels safe for your lower back. Again, I've got a bend in my knees here. That feels good for me. And this bouncing can just be good for your connective tissue. If it's not feeling right, then just find a steady posture where you can breathe. And let's place the right palm of the hand down onto the mat, and we'll peel the left arm up towards the roof. The gaze can follow for a twist. And the left hand comes down, right arm peels up. And once more to each side, right hand down, left arm peels up. And left hand down, right arm up. And let's walk the hands to the front of the mat, framing the left foot. We'll pivot on the toes and step back into high plank. Pausing in your high plank. I'm going to flow through our final vinyasa, so you're welcome to choose your vinyasa or follow me as we lower the knees and lower down for the count of 5, 4, 3. Elbows brush the side body. 2 and 1. Inhale, back extension. And exhale, breath, knees wide, big toes can touch. Sinking the hips back to the heels. Reach the arms forward. Find your child's pose and give the forehead a little massage into the mat. And you can come onto the tips of the fingers if that feels good, creating some space around your shoulders. And slowly bring the hands back in towards the body. We'll make your way into a seat, any way you'd like to get there. Extend the legs long. We're going to come back onto your back, just having the blanket or the bolster handy. So lowering your torso down towards the mat any way you like to get there. If you want to do one more bit of core when you come down, you can find your low boat, so raising the feet, hovering the torso, belly button sinks down towards the mat. This is the tough one. And let's sneak that in there. Let's extend the arms and legs, full body stretch, and bring the knees in towards the belly. Sway side to side. And we're going to find our way through a couple of rounds of bridge pose. So the soles of the feet come down, similar to what we did at the very start of class. The hands can be down by the waist. And again, that indication of where the feet need to go is if you can just gently swipe the back of your heels with your hands. Keep a focus on the knees. We don't want the knees to splay out wide, so keep them at about hip distance. It might mean that you have to actively press them in towards each other, making sure the back feels nice and stable and supported. And when you're ready, you can start to lift the hips on the inhale. So pressing down through your feet and actually pressing down through the inner arches of your feet. That's going to help you keep the knees drawing in towards each other. So this is another inversion here, bridge pose. So a few different options. First of all, try not to look side to side. Keep the head and the gaze up towards the roof. There's quite a lot of pressure on the neck and the shoulders here, so the last thing you want to be doing is looking side to side. So I'll do my best to be specific with the cues. So another option here is where you place the hands. So you can have the hands gripping the mat. Can be nice and supportive. You can have the hands out to the side, palms down. Or you can even have the hands out to the side, palms facing up. And it might feel good to walk a shoulder blade in and then the other, allowing you to maybe walk the feet in a little bit closer if there's space. Still pressing down through your feet. And we don't need to be activating the glutes or your butt muscles too much here. Seeing if you can soften down the glutes a little bit. There's still going to be some activity there, but this is a great pose for trying to soften down parts of the body, even though we're quite active here. The knees drawing in towards each other, just taking one or two more breaths. And let's slowly, very slowly, lower down. And walk the feet just a little bit out for constructive rest, lying flat on your back. Taking a moment, just feeling the effects on the body. Bringing in that sense of gratitude once again. And we're going to flow through one more round of our bridge pose. So if you're wanting a different option, then feel free to use your blanket for supported bridge. And that's placing the blanket underneath the lower spine or the bolster underneath the lower back as well. Otherwise, if you're wanting to join me, you can bring the feet back into that position, pressing the hands down as we start to raise the hips up towards the ceiling. And then some different options with the hands this time. You can walk the shoulder blades in one at a time, and you can have the hands interlaced underneath your tailbone, pinky fingers pressing down towards the ground, pressing down through the inner soles of your feet, and sending your glutes towards the knees, so encouraging that lift of the hips and starting to bring the awareness to your shoulders, your neck, parts of the face, and seeing if we can keep a steady breath here. And just another couple of breaths. And lowering down nice and slow, walk the shoulder blades back out. Walking the feet a little bit further apart and knocking the knees in towards each other. Just taking a moment to just notice how the body's feeling after that inversion. Try not to make too much noise, Raquel. I know, I can cut it, just like, it's kind of rude.
We're at 40 minutes.
That's okay. And let's straighten the legs out. Give yourself another full body stretch here. And then do that again. And straighten the legs out now, giving yourself a full body stretch. Hugging the knees in towards the belly. Sway side to side. And that concludes our practice. So if you'd like to keep it flowing, you're welcome to do that flow again, maybe another round of bridge pose. Otherwise, if it's time for your Shavasana, you can introduce the blanket, maybe the bolster or pillow underneath the head or the knees, or always having the option to end your practice in a comfortable seat, as I'll do right now, just taking a few rounds of your breath, bringing the hands to meet at heart center, Anjali Mudra. Noticing what there is to notice in your physical body. Noticing your breath, slowing it down. And sealing the practice with a shared breath. So emptying out your breath where you are. Take a big inhale through the nose. And breathing out. Thank you for letting me guide you through this slow flow today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the studio or on Kanuka Home Practice again soon. Namaste.